viewers, welcome to the Editorial Analysis by Dristhi IAS. In this section, we regularly take editorials from various newspapers and news portals for a better understanding of the various issues happening in India and around the globe. In this section, we first try to link the editorial with our UPSC syllabus, then we go analytical in order to understand some key points and at last some important concepts. Dear viewers, we truly hope that you like this initiative taken by Drishti IAS, and viewers, please feel free to give your important feedbacks in the comment section. So without any further delay, let's commence our session.
Dear viewer, this video is available in Hindi as well. If you wish to watch it, please visit our Hindi YouTube channel, Drishti IAS. For your convenience, the link for this video in Hindi has been provided in the description below.
Today's editorial is taken from Indian Express, published on 5th of October 2020. The title of today's editorial is China Drives Quad. Now, in this editorial, we will talk about the Quad meeting, which is going to take place between its member state in Tokyo, and how this small abstract idea might become a credible political coalition in future. If we try to link our editorial with our UPSC syllabus, we can link it with GS paper 2, which has constitution, polity, governance, and if we further narrow it down, we can link it with the international relations segment. Some key points of today's editorial. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is traveling to Tokyo for the meeting of the Quadrilateral Forum, also known as the Quad. The member states are India, the United States of America, Japan, and Australia. Also, it can be seen that Beijing and its official media, they are not happy at all about this meeting. If Chinese leaders looked in the mirror, they would see that it is Beijing's overweening strategic ambition that is driving the consolidation of the Quad. That means, if past is to be seen, it is the policies by China, several initiatives, ambitious initiatives by China, which has actually led to the consolidation of the Quad. Now, before we move ahead, it is quite important for us to understand what Quad exactly is and history associated with it. Quad is Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. Now, it is an informal strategic dialogue developed between India, USA, Japan, and Australia. The objective of the Quad is to ensure and support a free, open, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. That means the objective here of the member states is to support a prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Now, the start of Quad was actually made by the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in 2007. He first time proposed the idea of such a forum. Now, students, it is quite important for us to see that these four countries earlier, they formed a core group in the year 2004 in a joint response against the Boxing Day tsunami, the tsunami that came on 26th of December 2004. Now, students, I have used a Boxing Day term here. So, quite a fun fact here, important for us. You must have heard this term many a times, especially whenever any test series or a test match takes place in Australia on 26th of December. Now, the term Boxing Day, it got its name when Queen Victoria was on throne in the 1800s, and trust me, students, it has nothing to do with boxing. The name actually came from a time when the rich people used to box up gifts to give to the poor. Now, Boxing Day was traditionally a day off for the servants and the day when they received a special Christmas box from their masters. Now, this day has several religious connections as well, and it is celebrated as St. Stephen's Day in Ireland. European countries like Hungary, Germany, Poland, Netherlands, etc., there the Boxing Day is celebrated as a second Christmas Day, that is on 26th of December every year, right? So this was something about Boxing Day. So when the idea was proposed by Shinzo Abe in 2007, it could not work out because Australia pulled out, probably due to the pressure put by the Chinese. In December 2012, Shinzo Abe again floated the concept of Asia's democratic security diamond involving India, Australia, Japan, and the US to safeguard the maritime commons from the Indian Ocean to the Western Pacific. Now, students, it is quite important for us to understand what exactly was the situation here. In December 2012, the Japanese Prime Minister gave a speech, and in that speech, he gave a reference of one of his speeches that he gave in the Central Hall of Indian Parliament in 2007. There, in the Central Hall speech, he said that the confluence of the two seas, he used this particular phrase, confluence of the two seas, and he said that he has drew this phrase from the title of a book which was written by Mughal Prince Dara Shikoh in 1655. The idea which was proposed by Shinzo Abe here was very clear, that in order to make the entire region from Indian Ocean to Western Pacific side safe and sound for all the states, it is quite important that these four countries should come up and form such a coalition. In that very speech, he also mentioned that the South China Sea was becoming like a Lake Beijing. Now, this was in reference to China and its policies, in, you can say, encroaching policies in the South China Sea. In November 2017, India, the United States, Australia, and Japan gave shoe to the long pending Quad coalition to develop a new strategy to keep the critical sea routes in the Indo-Pacific region free of any influence, especially China. Now, in November 2017, all these four states came together and they formed a coalition known as Quad. The primary idea of this coalition was to develop a strategy so that they can keep critical sea routes in the Indo-Pacific region free of any influence, especially that of China. Now, the present situation. Over the years, Beijing has actually reacted with hostility to the Quad. It has often dismissed, like China has often made this claim that Quad is nothing but a pitiful effort to contain rising China, and China has also presented Quad as a threat to the global peace and security. Also, China is regularly making attempts so that it can totally demolish this forum and also generate some opposition among the member states. However, all four member states had a serious economic stakes in China and a strong interest in building sustainable political relations with Beijing. The Quad appeared more or less like a less organized cousin of BRICS. Now, students, we know BRICS. BRICS was an organization of states which involved Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So it has been said that Quad is more or less like a organization as of BRICS. The reason behind the transformation of Quad into a purposeful strategic framework is China's growing unilateralism and brazen effort to establish regional and global dominance. The most important reason why Quad is actually turning into a strategic framework is because China's brazen policies, efforts so that it can establish its complete dominance on global level as well as the regional level. Now, quite important here, way forward. China believes that it can push India on a range of issues. Now, as we know that China is definitely not liking this forum. So it is making all the possible efforts such that it can disrupt the member states in some way or other. We can see some of the policies, some of the initiatives that are taken by China so that it can pressurize India. Now, China believes that it can push India on a range of issues from aggression on Ladakh frontier. Now, we know that there is a constant situation of turmoil on Ladakh. Okay, the Chinese are regularly making an attempt to advance in that region. However, they are being properly stopped by our capable Indian forces. 2. Deepening military partnership with Pakistan. Now students, this is quite important. When I'm talking about deepening its military partnership with Pakistan, so we know that Pakistan and China, they are great allies. However, China is also helping Pakistan in lot many military fronts, such that China recently gave the Chengdu J-10B fighter aircraft. Also, there is a joint development of JF-17 Thunder fighter aircraft. K-8 Karakoram advanced training aircraft is also being delivered by China to Pakistan. The Al-Khalid tanks of Pakistan Army. Actually these tanks are based on the same model, and China has given them the license to produce these Al-Khalid tanks, whose technology is almost as same as the Chinese tanks, like that of Type 90 and MBT 2000. Then you have from blocking India's membership of the nuclear supplier group. Now, nuclear supplier group, quite an important thing here. So we'll just take an idea about what exactly the nuclear supplier group is. A nuclear supplier group was formed in the year 1974 after India conducted its first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha. Basically, nuclear supplier group is a group of nuclear supplier countries that aim to control the proliferation of nuclear weapons by curbing the export of nuclear weapon development material and its related technology. Initially, when NSG was formed, it had 7 members, and now we have 48 members in NSG. India not yet has become a member of NSG. Every country who wants to be a part of NSG has to follow several set of guidelines. There are basically 2 guidelines which are to be followed. Okay. Now, India's situation in NSG. Now, India could have become a member of NSG, but it is China which is constantly opposing India's entry into NSG. Now, China is regularly saying that unless India signs NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, India cannot become a member of the nuclear suppliers group. Then, this was the matter with the nuclear supplier group, and at last, to refusing to address the mounting trade deficit. Now, students, another very important thing, trade deficit. Okay, so let's take an idea about what exactly was the trade deficit between India and China. In 2019, the total trade volume between India and China was 92.67 billion USD. And India's trade deficit, now this is a cause of concern for us. India's trade deficit with China was 48.66 billion US dollars. Now, in the overall trade volume, which was 92.67 billions, China export to India was 74.72 billion USD, whereas India's export to China was only 17.95 billion USD. So we can see that there was a trade deficit of around 48.66 billion US dollars. However, there is one good news in this. This trade deficit, it is decreasing every year. In 2017-2018, the trade deficit between India and China, it was around 63 billion USD in 2017-2018. In 2018-2019, it was 53.56 billion. And for this year, that is for 2019 and 2020, it is 48.66 billion US dollars. So the trade deficit is decreasing. Okay. Right now, America is India's biggest trading partner, and it has replaced China. China was India's biggest trade partner from 2013-14 to 2017-18. And before China, it was the United Arab Emirates who were the biggest trading partner of India. So this was something with reference to the trade deficit. And like I said, that there is a tremendous amount of trade deficit between India and China. China has constantly refused to address this issue that why there is such a great trade deficit between both the countries. Both the countries should benefit from each other equally, but China has often refused to address this question. Until recently, India's relation has been the most cautious in imagining a robust future for the Quad. Now, India has been very cautious about its membership in Quad and the steps or the initiative that it is taking. But Delhi's attitudes have begun to evolve as China's pressure on India intensified. No country, certainly not a large one like India, likes being cornered. Now, initially, India had a normal policy towards this initiative, but after it saw that China is constantly pressurizing India on various issues, India has decided that it will not get cornered. Hence, Delhi is now be ready to contribute to the consolidation of the Quad. It is this responsibility because of which Delhi has decided that it will play the important role in consolidating Quad. So students, this was with today's editorial. I hope you liked today's editorial. Now some questions. Question number 1. China's aggressive posture in the South China Sea poses a strategic threat for India. Analyze. Number 2. Discuss the initiatives taken by India and Australia in Indian Ocean to contain China. Thank you very much, students.